Welcome to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside cold and icy Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, where it's probably just as cold and icy this time of year. John Webster, how you doing, Big John?
Gary, I'm doing real good, man. You already know I don't like this kind of weather. You already know that. So, temperature right now here in Maryland is 19 degrees. That's about 80 degrees less than I really like, which means I want it at 99. So, it's cold. It's cold around here, man. We got about 10 inches of snow. And guess
Mm.
what? They're calling for more snow on Sunday. So,
Uh,
um,
I hadn't even looked ahead to the forecast. All I know is I was going to come home for and go to the auto show, but that's out apparently. Well, just because I'm not driving through the mountains, just not going to do it. And I can't do it. And it looks like the auto show might be a bust just because of the weather, through no fault of its own. I mean, it's winter time, and I
mm,
understand how you feel, Big John.
it's rough. I mean, the snow looks pretty. It looks all beautiful, but it's rough, man. It is
It,
really rough.
you know,
The streets are getting better, but it's cold, man. And they don't expect it to get above freezing this week. So it's not going to get to 32 degrees this week.
yeah. It's like I was trying to find out what the temperature was here, and what did you say it was there in Maryland?
19.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's 13 here in Kentucky, in my little part of the world of Kentucky, and it's it's crazy, man. I'm trying to remember I guess starting tonight, it's supposed to be below zero for the next 3 or 4 nights, and I can't even remember any time that I lived in Maryland that it ever got that cold. It might be one time, but never like an extended stretch.
Man, you talking about crazy. You know
Mm,
what's really crazy, Gary?
13 degrees. Ouch.
You know what's really crazy?
What's crazy?
It's crazy that the Super Bowl will be here in a couple weeks and it's going to have the New England Patriots playing the Seattle Seahawks. That is crazy, man. That's
Yep,
absolutely crazy. I
yep.
mean, New England was what, 4-13 last year? And
Hmm.
then they flipped it around and now they're in the Super Bowl. Seattle was, I can't remember what Seattle was last year, but now they're in the Super
They were
Bowl.
not a factor last year.
Thank you very much. So, two newcomers, but it's a rematch from 10 years ago. The Seattle New England game of 10 years ago, which the Patriots won. But, we'll come back to it, Gary, and get your thoughts on it. But let's
Mhm.
rehash real quick on these championship games, the AFC championship and the NFC championship. AFC, the Patriots stymied the Broncos. They won a game 10-7. As you well know, it was a beautiful game for me. It was outdoors, it was on grass, it was snowing, raining, wind blowing. I was so
Foggy.
happy to watch. Foggy. I was
Mhm.
loving every minute of it, Gary. I was loving every minute. It was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What do you think, man?
Well, what's crazy is that you love that weather for football, but you don't like it for yourself. I mean, I understand you'd rather watch it on TV than watch it out your picture window, which I'm sure you have in your beautiful home. But yeah, I mean, it was really perfect conditions. I loved it too. Now, I was a little surprised that Denver playing at home, Mile High conditions, I mean, they even have it on their helmet, 5280. And they just didn't handle it. And I can't even really blame it on the fact that Bo Nix wasn't playing because Jarrett Stidham let him on that TD drive. They looked good. They were moving the ball. I mean, and there were times that they seemed to move the ball. But in the second half, it seemed like everything bogged down. And I'm going to put that on New England's defense for really shutting them down and limiting them. And they made it easy for Drake May to, they gave Drake May plenty of chances, and I kept waiting for that one touchdown because as the conditions worsened after halftime, and let's be even more specific, the conditions worsened from the last few minutes of the third quarter to the end of the game. Because when they showed this time lapse of seeing Greenfield up until like maybe about 4 minutes were left in the third quarter when that snow rolled in, and it rolled in with a vengeance. Neither team was really lighting it up, but you just wondered somebody's going to score a touchdown that's either going to swing it more for New England, or Denver was going to do it, and it just never happened. So to quote John Webster, it was a defensive slobber knocker. And New England was just that much better. They preserved the lead on the road in conditions that they're not used to, and I'm talking about the altitude, and more props to them, man. They stayed, kept it simple, stayed on the ground. They couldn't throw the ball. Nobody could throw the ball in those conditions.
It was a interesting game. I am old school, so I don't go a lot with analytics. And in the first quarter, Denver had all the momentum. They had just got the touchdown. Then they were going inside of New England's 10-yard line, 4th and 1. And instead of kicking that field goal, they went for it. And again, I'm old school, man. I'm kicking the field
Hmm.
goal. I'm getting the points. I'm not chasing points. I'm getting points.
Hmm.
And you look back at that game, that was a key because it would have been 10-10 in the fourth quarter, as opposed to 10-7. Second half, New England set the meter, set the momentum. That was an 8 or 9 minute drive they went on to start the second half to get the field goal. And that just pretty much took the third quarter away. And in the fourth quarter, Denver just couldn't do anything. Even though they had the wind at their back, Vrabel felt so comfortable with his defense that he was calling running plays when he knew they weren't going to pick up a first down because he
Hmm.
had that much confidence in his defense to shut down Denver. And they shut him down the whole second half, completely
Yeah,
shut him down.
yeah,
That one field goal chance they had, and New England blocked the kick. So what's the field goal kicker's name for Denver? Lutz, is that Will Lutz?
yeah.
I
Sounds
think he I
familiar.
think
Yeah,
he's supposed to be very accurate. He has been very accurate all season, and he was 1 for 3 on Sunday with kicks. The one right before halftime. No, he wasn't 1 for 3. He was like
what?
0 for 2 or 0 for 3. The one he missed before halftime.
Yeah,
You remember they
yeah.
tried a 50-yard, he missed that. We
Yeah.
wanted to say he was 0 for 2, Gary. I was giving him too much credit. He was 0 for
Yeah.
2.
Well, when you were saying 1 for 3, I guess you were referring to his general kick attempts, because he made the extra point on the touchdown. Yeah, but I mean, ironically, yeah, we saw later that ball was tipped, and that's as much on the Patriots defender
Mm-hmm.
as much on the kicker. And John, I'm like you. When you have fourth and short, and you're near the goal line, take the daggone points. Period. Paragraph. I don't like you talk about analytics, and as you mentioned, that decision figured in the other title game that we'll get to
Mm-hmm.
in a minute. But it's like to use another Websterism, what is that? It's about my Spurs, and you can
Burn a
point
hole in my
to
Spurs. Burn a
burn a
hole in
hole
my
in my
Spurs.
Spurs. Okay, there we go. There we go. When when you've got fourth and short and you're close to the goal line, kick the field goal, take the points. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with 3 points. This thing about being daring and going for it, And then they always talk about, oh yeah, it's a greater chance of scoring. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Hmm.
We see
Hmm.
that often, especially if you see a team line up in fourth and short in shotgun. How many times
Hmm.
does it work? How
You're
many
right.
times? I
You're
mean,
right.
I'm not looking for a number from you. I'm just saying it is, to me, it's a low percentage choice to line up in shotgun. Even if you're like under center, you got fourth and one. Yeah, they know where the ball is going, to a quarterback for a
Hmm.
sneak, and can box it up. Take the points. Take the points. Take the points. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and that was a
Gutsy call
momentum
at
swing. That was a
yeah,
momentum swing.
gutsy call at the end to seal the victory by New England. 3rd and 6, I think, and they called a bootleg.
Yeah,
Well, from what I'm getting now, they didn't call it. Drake May called it because it seemed like the lineman didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew he was calling that. He called his own play from what I'm getting now, and picked up the first down and ran the timeout.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we really can't say enough about Drake May's rather resourcefulness on a couple of those plays. Like one where he essentially pitched it to a little used receiver, little used until Sunday, because I think he ended up with something like 8 receptions for 130 something yards, and came up big for him. But plays like that, the way that he improvised was impressive. Whether it's throwing a ball in the second half, and especially late in the game, or pitching it to a guy who ends up getting a first down, and Drake May running for first downs his daggone self. It's like that's what you want your quarterback to do. And what I'm impressed with New England is nobody thought they would get there after Belichick retired. Let's just note that. When Brady left and then Belichick exited, however you want to describe it, everybody thought that would be, excuse me, the end of the Patriots as we know it in terms of them being relevant. But they hired the right coach, and the right coach brought in the right players, and he relied on his quarterback. So let's see, what Drake May is, what, a second year quarterback, something
yep.
like that. So if you go, I'll say it like this: if you have a young quarterback, a second year quarterback, you let him cook. If you put the right pieces around him, especially a decent offensive line, let him cook. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes, but he's also going to make decisions that get you down the field. And he's
Hmm.
managing the game very, very well. He's big enough to see over the line, and as we know, from his college days, he's resourceful enough to make some things happen on his own, and he did. And just like the New England teams of Tom Brady, it's the other guys that are helping him get it done on offense. Guys that you don't know about, but now you're going to be hearing a lot about. I see a potential dynasty in the AFC East with New England just because of Vrabel and Drake May and his faith in his quarterback.
Well, that's nice to hear, Gary, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. There's a game they have to play in 2 weeks in Santa Clara against a team called the Seahawks, and that's a tall order. Now that Seahawks Rams game. Here, before you get into it, let me just say this again. I don't chase points. I get points. Again, 4th and 4. The Rams have. They're down by 4. Kick the field goal, send your defense out there, and then instead of having to go for a touchdown at the end, you're going for a field goal to win the game. Go for it, Gary.
Well, John, I mean, you laid it out perfectly. That was one of those where I was texting people in all caps, and again, I repeat, take the points, take the points. Um, stop being cute because you figure in that situation, you kick the field goal, you're down by one. You kick the
Mhm.
field goal, that defense was going to get the ball back again for you with probably more time than you and ultimately were left with.
Mhm.
And Sean McVay, I think, really missed an opportunity. And, you know, John, we like to talk about what the football gods think. And I find it ironic that the Seahawks are back in the Super Bowl because I always thought they would be cursed forever because of their last appearance against the Patriots, where, you know, where you got beast mode just ready to go and everything, and you pass the ball, you know, at the one, and he gets intercepted. Game over, dynasty over, and I didn't think that they would ever get back there. I'm putting this more on the Rams, and you know, of course, I'm going to give flowers to the Seahawks here in just a second. But the Rams missed out on opportunities because they were trying to be cute. Yes, you've got a potential Hall of Famer, Matthew Stafford, under center. You've got receivers, but fourth and four, you're that close. It's a close game. I knew, and Seattle looked shaky on offense at that point. So you figured the Rams were going to get the ball back one more time and at least get it within field goal range, take the points. And I bet when he looks at that game film, he's like, "Man, I should have kicked that field goal." And that's about it. You wasted a great effort by again a potential Hall of Fame quarterback.
It's rough, man. The special teams let him down again.
Oh,
The punt
woo.
returner where he
Oh,
lost. I mean, I get it. The wind is really rough. Catching a punt. I'm not a football player, but I can tell you this from football players I've talked to. What you may think is one of the easiest jobs is one of the hardest jobs in football. To
oh, no
catch
doubt.
a football punt, that is a very difficult job. You're concentrating on a ball coming down at the same time. You're trying to make sure these guys don't take your head off.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. And, you know, that led to a score right out the bat in the second half for Seattle, put them up 10. And it was unfortunate because they've had some special teams breakdowns all season. Go back to the second time they played Seattle, they're up by 16. What turned that game around when the Rams lost was the punt return. Punt return
Hmm.
for a touchdown. Beginning of the season, they got the game against Philadelphia won. All they got to do is make this 37, 38-yard field goal. Gets blocked. So they've had some Carolina playoff game. If I'm not mistaken, they had a block punt in that game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the special teams for McVay has been a trying situation, a challenging situation. I think McVay has a really good team. I think the Rams are going to be around for a while, but Seattle, you got to give them credit, man. Sam
Oh,
Darnold
definitely.
did his thing again. Uh, I always get his name messed up. Smith and Jigba,
And Jake,
JSN.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, made some key catches. But I will say this to you, Gary, and we said it last week. At the end of the season, we're going to have to go back over what is a catch and what is not a catch. The one that Smith and Jigba caught at the end of the game for the first down, that was very really close if he made it or not. Did he even
Hmm.
have possession long enough for it, or was it a fumble? You know, again, that's going to be a subject that's going to be discussed at the NFL owners meetings at the end of the season because I can see it now. What is a catch? What is not a catch is going to be discussed thoroughly
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, that's one like for years, you know, whether you're talking about Dez Bryant or was it Calvin Johnson, and now you know now we got this situation with Smith and Jigba, and yeah, you got to come up with something because all of us watching, we see it on TV. We know daggone well what's a catch and what's not. But some that determination isn't often made in New York. I mean they just leave it they just leave it out there for interpretation. I mean we're here it is. We're talking about it days after and it's like okay, we know what we see, but they don't know. what we see. They don't agree. So somebody, and I can guarantee you, John, that discussion in that room, it's going to get heated because there are people
Yeah.
in that room that are going to say, this is what defines a catch, and this what doesn't. We know a drop, we know a fumble when we see it, and
And it's unfortunate. And let
mm,
me also say for the referees, it's not an easy job they have. You're making a call in a split second, and you, me, and a
and
few
you have
million others,
replay.
we have the benefit of a replay. So it's rough all the way around, man. It's rough for everybody. Take nothing away from the Seattle Seahawks. They earned it. They deserve it. They're moving on, and they are tough. Man, did you see them a couple times? They rushed two people and set nine back in coverage. The
Yeah,
Seahawks on Sunday.
that was so wild. And I think that's the impressive thing about this team. Like, okay, by no means are we gonna try to say, yeah, it's what was it, Legion of Boom, whatever,
Mhm.
too. I keep on saying Legion of Doom, and I'm thinking about, my comic book stuff. But
I'm gonna
um,
take you to a pro wrestling match when you get back to town again, so you can get
yeah.
good remembrances of the Legion of Doom,
Oh,
the
oh,
Road Warriors.
oh, John. I'm going to bring you out here for when Monday Night Raw, comes to Louisville or Lexington or SmackDown because I mean they're both in big arenas, but man, when you're not in like those grand stage arenas, like there in Washington or something like that, it's something to behold. I mean, man, it gives you chills. But anyway, um, the Seahawks, I can't say enough about Sam Darnold. And he's one of those quarterbacks from that 2018 draft class, that included Lamar Jackson. Let's see, God, who won the Heisman Trophy winner that year. God, dude,
Who else? Joe Burrow was in it.
yeah,
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson,
Josh Allen
uh,
was in it. Yeah, Baker Mayfield. That's what I was
Baker
trying to.
Mayfield. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
I mean, a humongous class, and we thought that Jackson or Allen would probably get to the Super Bowl first because Sam Darnold was a journeyman quarterback. I mean, you remember he played for the Jets, and that was career suicide. I mean, let's
yeah,
just be
yeah,
real.
yeah,
No offense to Jets fans, and heck, for a while I was kind of following the Jets, but all along I've always thought, oh, and one other thing, he was discarded by a team he led to 14 wins not too
yep.
long ago.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yep. And
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, and they let him go. But here he is. What I'm saying is, just like just like I had faith in Daniel Jones before he, got hurt, and I still have faith in him, that I always had faith in Sam Darnold because he was too much of a talent, a big guy with a ridiculous arm. And just for a little bit of background, when I was teaching a class this past semester at UK. One of the stories that I had my story, or one of the stories that my students had to read was essentially two features written about Sam Darnold. Um, I think it was his senior year.
Hmm.
And, all of these things about his background, about how plain, really he's kind of a low-key guy. He comes across like for a quarterback, he's probably as low-key and I'll say nonplussed as they come when it comes to the attention and such. He doesn't have that kind of bravado. He's just a quietly confident guy who now is in the right system. He was in the right system in Minnesota and they forgot about it. But he found another right system in Seattle, and here they are. The guy is resilient, the guy is resourceful, and the
Hmm.
guy has, when when he needs that bravado, he shows it on the field. He can throw. He
Mhm.
can still throw. He can make the right decisions. He's a great reader of defense.
Mhm.
And here they are. And he's a leader. And I think you can see a team that really rallies behind him because if he can make those plays, they try to make help him make those plays.
And like you said, Gary, he's a leader, and you can't help but like Sam Darnold. He just has that personality where you want the best for him, you want him to win, you want him to be successful. It just seems, from me watching, just seems like a really great guy. Now, we won't get into it until next week, but an early one. You can change it, Gary. You going Seahawks or you going Patriots?
Woo. Okay, John, I'm going to go Patriots early.
Okay.
Be, because of that defense. Um, you know, Vrabel is a guy who knows defense, and he's going to have them ready. And remember, they went on the road and they held Denver to a touchdown on its home field,
We're
and
going to
that's
see.
all. Yeah, again, that's my early choice. Of course, in this setting, we reserve the right to change our minds, right? When we got
That's why
another
we'll
week to
always
decide.
That's why we'll always be undefeated, Gary.
Oh, well, okay. Now, here's the thing. We both picked the Rams in the NFC title game, and we were wrong on that. We stuck to our guns on that, and we were wrong. And John, when they missed when they passed on the chance for the field goal and then missed on the fourth down, and what were they lined up in, John, on that play? Hmm.
Shotgun.
Mm-hmm. And I was standing up as I was making chili in the kitchen that I said, "Oh my God, they're going to go for it." And I was like, "This is not going to turn out well." I said, "I hope I'm surprised," but I said, "This ain't going to turn out well." And I was right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You probably were thinking the same thing. It's like, why are they doing this?
Stop chasing the points, get the points. But
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. It's funny you term it that way, John. Don't chase the points, get the points. That, in essence, you are chasing points, but when, it's also that situation where you have the chance, you take it. If you're on the Price is Right and you have a chance to get the car, yeah, and pick the right number or something like that. I always say, don't pick a 0 or a 5 or something. Go for any other number, or excuse me, a 0, 9, or 5. Go for any other number, and you're going to win that car. And they usually do.
well,
Go for,
we'll
yeah, make the smart choice. I don't know if that's the greatest analogy to use, but everybody's screaming the same thing at the TV. Take the points.
on that note, Gary, take us home.
Okay. Let's see. So, we've got that week before the Super Bowl to kind of reset and think about our picks, of course, and why we think this team will win. But in the meantime, John, we've got the Australian Open that's going to wrap up. I hope we can talk about that next week, which I'm sure we will. We've got college basketball. Now it's their stage, and from what I saw last night, Duke is a pretty daggone good-looking team, and Cameron Boozer, grown man, just a grown man, and Duke has weapons. Arizona hung on to win its game, but Arizona is still a strong team. Let's see, we've got Purdue. Yes, there's going to be movement, but it just seems like the usual suspects are there. So watch them. Women's college basketball, same old thing, with UConn still looking strong. So watch them. There's a lot of teams coming up on the outside that they got to look out for. I would toot my horn for the Louisville women, but I'm going to wait on that. Yes, they're in the top 10, but I'm going to wait on that until they really beat that big team. But they're still a team to watch. So what else we got? We got hockey. We've got NBA, and heck, John, we might even have NASCAR before the Super Bowl. Yeah, because of an All-Star race coming up, and I think they're going to play that they're going to run that one rather in a football stadium. So a lot of little things to talk about as the motorsport season gets ready to ramp up. But folks, that's why we talk about this, because there's so much sports. Come back, watch us on this on Facebook, on YouTube. And before I go, John, I gotta give a shout out to our man John Pitt. I hope we see him back here at some point. Continue your recovery, my man, and we look forward to seeing you, because we miss you big time.
Hey, man. Thanks, Gary, and thanks everybody for joining us. Another great week in sports. Watch the NBA. Watch some college basketball. Yes, Gary. Duke is tough, but Arizona's a tough one too. I watched them last night pull it out against BYU. So
Mm.
watch that as well. Watch some women's basketball. They wanted to bury South Carolina after they lost to Oklahoma. What did Dawn Staley do? Said not a word and came back and beat Vanderbilt 103-74. So watch the
Hmm.
women's basketball, watch some hockey, watch the Australian Open, watch some soccer, but above all else, just watch some sports. And let me say two things before I leave. I almost forgot. I apologize. One, John Pitt, continue to get healthy. I see you're doing well. Continue to stay on the mend, my friend, and we both look forward to having you back very, very soon. Sadder note, dear friend Jesse Harrison passed last week. Jesse was one of the first interviews that we had on the Daily Deuce. Jesse was a great person, tremendous basketball player, played at uh, Teddy Roosevelt in D.C., also played, I think, at Southeastern College in D.C. as well. Uh, Tremendous player, but an even better person. My thoughts and prayers go out to his family and as well. But above all else, keep the Harrison family in prayers. And then we're going to see you again real soon. Take care.